Yo, what's going on today? So, man, this is probably the coldest I've ever came out to vlog. I got the big coat on, the one that I bought in that one vlog, the very expensive one that I'm still not gonna say the price tag on. But yeah, I had to bring this out. It has a hood too. Let me see, bro. I can't even put it up, bro, because I got it tightened up here. I'd have to loosen it first. Anyways, that's besides the point. If I get cold, I'll put that on. But today we're gonna be, I'm gonna record multiple today. Oh, there's a dead mouse in front of me, bro. That just scared me. What's it called? We're gonna be talking about focusing on your goal and not the how. That's the first one we're gonna talk about, okay? So that's what this video is gonna be. And yeah, so you know, a lot of us, we have this idea of something that we would like to do, and you know, we think about it and we think about, you know, what's required to actually get that goal or to accomplish that goal. And people get discouraged, you know, thinking about that. Like, for example, someone who wants to become a YouTuber, I'll just use that as an example because that's what you're watching. That's what you're watching, and that's what you know, that's what I am. So we'll use that as an example. Someone who wants to become a YouTuber, they say, I want to have 1 million subscribers. Okay, that's great. You want to have 1 million subscribers? Amazing. You can do that. But then you look at a channel with 1 million subscribers, you look at the videos, the quality of the videos that they put out, how good the editing is on those videos, how good their thumbnails are, and then you say, well, how am I supposed to do all that? And then you just get easily discouraged because you think that because their quality is so good that yours is not. And you cannot achieve that kind of quality content. But that's not the case. And the reason you're thinking that way is because you're focusing on the how instead of the goal itself, right? You may not know how to do all those things at the beginning, but you don't need to. So don't get discouraged just because you look at something that someone else is doing and you say, well, I don't know how to do those things right now. That's perfectly fine, because just for me, for example, if you go to my main channel and you look at the videos that I first ever put out, they're not quality like they are today. And even today, I feel like there's still a level of quality that can be achieved that, you know, higher than what I put out right now. Although I would say my stuff is pretty good. Like, I can do better. I can always get better at what I'm doing. But no one is good at the beginning. At one point, they're gonna suck. And this is the truth. Everyone's gonna suck at the beginning. If you go on a lot of YouTubers' channels, you look at their first videos, the thumbnails are not like they are now. They've achieved this sort of evolution over time where they've gotten so much better. And just, that's how it works. The reason they're able to do that is because they're focusing on the goal, not necessarily the how. Because when you start thinking of how am I supposed to do all these things that I don't know how to do, you get discouraged, and then you just don't want to go for it entirely. And that's not good. All right. Obviously, when you're thinking about how to do something, or when you have this goal in mind, you want to think about the steps that it's going to take to reach it, but don't necessarily think of, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, I need this, I need that. Also, this is one thing. People are letting what they cannot do interfere with what they can do. This is what, never do this. Never let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do. Just because you do not know how to edit or, you know, make thumbnails or whatever, it doesn't have to be YouTube related. Like, just because you don't know how to do something that is required or something that would help you in reaching whatever goal you have does not mean that you cannot reach that goal. It just means you'll have to learn that skill eventually. And all those skills are learnable. And if you want to reach that goal bad enough, you're gonna learn whatever skill is necessary to get you to that point. And if you don't try to learn that skill, if you say it's too much work, then obviously you don't want it bad enough. That's a simple solution, or that's a simple answer right there. All right. So another thing, people say, well, I'll get started once I have this, once I have that. You don't need this or that. You don't need specific things. You just start using what you have, whether you're starting YouTube or starting whatever. You're doing whatever, just use what you have right now, because if you wait until you have these things, first off, you may never get those things that you need. And second, I mean, you're waiting on some external thing to achieve a goal. I mean, I've spoken about this before. Just use what you have right now, make the best quality content with what you have at your disposal, and you're gonna get things along the way. So when I first started, I didn't have the things that I have now. I didn't have the setup that I have now. I couldn't afford it. But as I started to make content, I was able to get those things and eventually buy exactly what I needed to do, or buy exactly what I needed to get in order to make higher quality stuff, right? because I wasn't letting what I didn't have at the moment interfere with what I could potentially put out. And that's the case I'm trying to make here. So don't focus so much on the how, man. Just focus on that goal. Focus on that goal that you have. Like really get emotionally involved with that goal, and just keep working on it. Start working on it immediately. Don't waste any time. Remember, time is your most precious commodity. Don't waste any time. Just work on it. All right. Now, it's good, like I said, it's good to think of how to achieve something in terms of like the steps, like I said earlier, because you want to know what kind of things, you need to do. If I'm thinking about, okay, if I have this certain goal, I'm gonna have to put out, a certain amount of videos each week, or I'm gonna have to do this to reach this goal. Like, that's good to think constructively, to think about the how in a constructive way. But when you're thinking about the how in a destructive way, where it starts to like make you discouraged because you think you need this, you think you need that, or there's some skill that you don't know how to do, then now you're interfering with what you can do. Because as long as you get started on the path, the way is going to be shown to you. You're going to learn what you need to learn. Like, everything is going to fall into place. As long as you get started and you start working on the goal, everything else is going to come. It's going to come your way when it needs to. All right. So that is the idea. Focus on the goal, not the how. Okay. Let me give you a little story here before I end this off. So Henry Ford, which was one of the richest men in America when he was living, he wanted to develop an engine. I forget the specific model. He wanted to develop an engine, and so he had his engineers. This is in Think and Grow Rich, by the way, this story. But he had his engineers working on this specific engine. But the thing was, the technology for the engine was not even, it didn't exist yet. So it was impossible to create what he wanted. But he said, I want this. He knew exactly what he wanted. He said, I want this engine. He told his engineers to work on it, to continue working on it. His engineers were like, Mr. Ford, it's impossible. It literally cannot be done. He said, continue to work on it, continue to work on it, continue to work on it. I'm gonna have this engine. And he kept telling them that. Months went by, half a year, a long time went by, and still they came no closer to developing what he wanted, because it just wasn't available. It didn't exist. Eventually it got to the point where it did exist, and they did create the engine, and he did get what he wanted because he told them to keep working on it. He knew exactly what he wanted. He didn't focus so much on the how. He didn't even acknowledge the fact that it wasn't possible at the time, because he didn't care. All he knew was what he wanted. He had the goal in mind. He wasn't so much concerned as to how. He just wanted something so badly, and he went out to get it. And that's the point I'm trying to make here. All right, so I hope you got value out of this. Okay, I'm gonna record another one right after I end this one, so I guess I'll get started on that. Peace out.